Hi there, good evening and welcome to this edition of News 360, coming to you from our news hub here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. I am Bernice Abubeidulansa.
Good evening to you. I am Noble Crosby Annan, and these are the headlines of the bulletin tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
EcoBank,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
This evening, calls grow for an independent probe into extortion claims against Minority Leader Alexander Pionmakin.
And former Works and Housing Minister Kojo Nkrumah backs private sector participation in Saglemi Housing Project.
Also in the bulletin, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Pandita-Siema is confident in the prospects of the 24-hour economy policy.
And on the international front, DR Congo and M23 rebels agree roadmap for peace talks.
Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana and on DSTV channel 279. We can now settle for the details of the stories.
Well, this evening, the controversy surrounding the losses captured in the domestic gold purchasing program is widening, with fresh demands for investigations into the reported losses and the allegations now being made against Minority Leader Alexander Pionmakin. At the center of the dispute is an IMF reported loss of more than 1.7 billion US dollars. That's about 22 billion cedis, and the Bank of Ghana's gold purchase program in 2025. The following story looks at what has been happening so far.
The gold board controversy is deepening, with growing demand for investigations into both the reported losses under Ghana's gold purchase program and allegations involving Minority Leader Alexander Pionmakin. The dispute began after an IMF report put losses associated with the scaling up of the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchase program in 2025 at more than $1.7 billion. The minority has demanded answers on how the losses arose, including the role of foreign exchange differentials, discounts to gold off-takers, and fees associated with the transactions. Gold Board Chief Executive Sammy Gyamfi, however, rejects suggestions that the figure represents a loss made by Gold Board. He says the losses relate to the Bank of Ghana program, while Gold Board's audited 2025 accounts recorded an operational surplus of about 907 million cedis and an overall surplus exceeding 5.4 billion cedis. But the disagreement has since moved beyond numbers. Sammy Gyamfi described Pionmakin as an extortionist, an allegation the minority leader rejects. Pionmakin says he will pursue legal remedies, but insists the minority will continue demanding a parliamentary inquiry into the gold transactions. The minority caucus has backed him, calling for Gold Board to appear before Parliament to reconcile its audited accounts with the losses identified by the IMF. Now, a separate petition has added another dimension to the controversy. Political activist Solomon Owusu and lawyer Andrew Appiah Dankwa have petitioned the Attorney General, Special Prosecutor, Shraj, Police CID, and the Speaker of Parliament over allegations that Apinyomakin personally or through intermediaries attempted to obtain $1 million from Sami Gyamfi in exchange for stopping adverse publicity or political pressure. The petitioners acknowledge they do not presently possess the alleged communications or recordings and want investigators to obtain the evidence and determine whether the allegation is true.
The allegation is that a personality in the person of Apinyomakin, who happens to be the minority leader, is using the very office to not serve the interests of the people of the country, but to benefit himself by extorting monies from public officials. And for us, it's a very worrisome development. But as responsible Ghanaians, the matter cannot be allowed to die natural death as we've been seeing. We want a conclusive investigation into this matter. The claim of extortion came from Sami Gyamfi himself. Afenyo may also have documents that suggest that he has not done so. So that at the end of the day, we are clear in our minds as to whether or not there was an extortion or otherwise.
For now, the Gold Board controversy presents two accountability questions. What explains the reported $1.7 billion loss? And what is the truth behind the extortion allegation now at the center of the political dispute?
Well, we reach Adam Senanu, who is with a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, for his thoughts on this. When you're able to get him through to the lines, would have that interaction. But let's bring you some more news now.
And away from the gold controversy, former Works and Housing Minister Kojo Nkrumah says the Mahama administration's continued use of private sector participation in the Sagleme housing project vindicates the PPP module introduced under the previous government. Now his comments follow President Mahama's inspection of the project, with developers targeting 700 completed homes by March 2027.
According to the Ofuase Ayurebi Member of Parliament, Kojo Nkrumah, the PPP arrangement faced strong political opposition when it was introduced, with accusations of government selling off the Saglame project. He maintains the decision was necessary to attract private capital to complete the stalled development. The original project, financed with about $200 million, was expected to deliver 5,000 homes, but only 1,506 units were partially completed. Government later estimated that about $100 million more was needed to complete the houses and supporting infrastructure.
Well, this is testament to the fact that the PSP model works, and we need to mainstream it instead of always trying to wait for taxpayers' money or sovereign debt before we do these projects. There are still a lot of projects that we actually even tried to resolve, but time wasn't on our side. It is important for this private sector approach to continue. I think that this thing where, when an opponent is doing something, even if it is good, you deliberately smear it with allegations that are unfounded. This is a clear lesson that must be learned from it, because in the end you will be stuck with it, and you will now have to find a way to justify all the things that you said earlier, and I think it's totally unhelpful. If a model is rolled out, if a project is rolled out and it's good for Ghana, it's good for Ghana. Let's continue with it, and let's give credit where credit is due.
Nkrumah insists the private sector process was transparent and designed to protect the state's investment. He called for a transparent allocation system and affordable mortgages to ensure ordinary Ghanaians can buy the completed homes.
One of the major considerations was how to ensure that at the end of the day, the project is still affordable for the average person who wants to buy. And in the pricing mechanism that government and the private sector operator agree on at the end, that is one of the main pillars that they have to ensure is upheld. So there needs to be a transparent sales model for it, where people can actually go put in a bid and have an opportunity to purchase by mortgage any of these properties. My understanding from what the president said is that that is what they intend to continue, and I heard him saying that when the portal is open, those who are interested should go on and apply. It shouldn't just be in word, but in deed as well. That is what should happen.
The former minister insists the use of PPPs will address Ghana's housing and infrastructure deficit while reducing lengthy approval processes that can delay projects.
A lot more attention needs to be paid to the question of how to speed up the processes. But we have to build internal capacity within the public service to speed, PPP projects up, like we were able to do with this one. And if we're able to do that, we can deliver a lot more infrastructure, a lot more public goods and services without having to burden the taxpayer.
Developers are targeting 700 completed homes by March 2027 and about 1,500 by the end of the year.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, says the emergence of the 24-hour economy presents a unique opportunity for Ghana to roll everyone on board. According to him, the success will not be determined solely by natural resources or financial capital. It will increasingly depend on human capital, creativity, digital skills, and an entrepreneurial mindset. He was speaking at the 33rd Graduate Students Association of Ghana, GRASAC Summit in Accra.
Ghana's 24-hour economy is a national strategic policy that aims to transform Ghana from an import-dependent nation into a round-the-clock production and export hub, targeting over 1.7 to 2 million new jobs through maximized asset utilization and multi-shift operations. This subject featured prominently at the summit, which brought together academic professors, entrepreneurs, and graduate students. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, whose speech was read on his behalf by Bernard Atto Otabil, the Director of Communications, called for strategic shift in thinking to one of innovation and skills acquisition.
As we move towards a more dynamic and competitive economy, the question is no longer whether we have knowledge, but rather whether we can turn that knowledge into innovation, productive enterprises, and sustainable economic growth opportunities. Graduate schools are now being encouraged to move beyond the role of simply transmitting knowledge. They must become platforms for creating knowledge, fostering innovation, and supporting entrepreneurship. Research findings should be accessible and utilized rather than confined to library shelves. Innovations should be translated in technologies, products, services, and solutions that meet societal needs and create wealth, ultimately.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nanaba Apia Amfo, said the university is strengthening entrepreneurial innovations and capabilities.
We are deliberately seeking to strengthen the environment within which research and graduate education take place, promoting interdisciplinary research, strengthening research support, encouraging collaboration with industry, governments, and communities, expanding opportunities for innovation and entrepreneurship, and creating spaces in which ideas can move from conception to application.
GRASAC President Sadiq Abubakari said the summit was timely.
Currently, we all know that AI has come to stay. Now, businesses are now trying our best to automate their businesses to also remove more of employing graduate students. So, graduate students, what are we doing to curb these issues? That's why the Graduate Council come together to have this team by creating knowledge and then, entrepreneurial skills in this 24-hour economy.
The summit was held under the theme Beyond Graduate School, Curating Knowledge, Innovation, and Entrepreneurial Skills in the 24-hour economy.
In more news tonight, for many senior citizens, navigating smartphones, digital services, and now artificial intelligence can present a different challenge. Well, questions remain about whether the elderly population are being adequately prepared to stay connected, participate in the digital economy, and then safely navigate an increasingly digital society. Anita Agbata has more in this report.
Mobile money, digital banking, smartphones, online services, and now artificial intelligence. Technology has changed how we communicate, make transactions, and access essential services. But for some senior citizens, keeping up is not always easy. For Alice and her 85-year-old mother, Gladys, learning to use smartphones and everyday apps has become a shared journey.
I
bought the phone myself.
I cannot message and use WhatsApp by myself. I use it to receive and make calls only. I already struggle with this one. I will need someone to constantly teach me, but they don't have time.
Paul Nielante is a 74-year-old businessman. He tells me technology has made life easier.
You can call my daughter and then wherever she is, and then talk. Gone were those days you have to go to PNT, and 4 o'clock you line up, and you go and stand there. The conversation going on, the next person is even listening to you. You are being time up. And then next person. But these things are easier.
But when technology becomes difficult to navigate, many elderly people turn to younger relatives for help. Kobe has been his aunt's digital teacher for a long time now.
We send na texting be who are now answer text so back general now only text it today only make asana
For Paul, fear of making mistakes, falling victim to fraud, and keeping up with rapidly changing technology can create barriers.
The world is now moving in fast track. These days, that's what I'm saying. If you don't belong there, don't go there. They will cheat you. Everything's in there. By the time you realize you've been taken off track.
Dr. Loretta Bote Kabuti is a research fellow and lecturer at Birmingham City University and an AI and machine learning engineer. She says the challenge is not necessarily age or an inability to learn.
The conversation needs to go beyond simply giving senior citizens smartphones or giving them access to devices. We need to consider language. We need to consider how literate they are, whether they can afford it. We need to consider whether in their cultural context also. So we need to look at all these challenges and create opportunities out of them.
As more services move online, how do we ensure senior citizens are not left behind? And how can they fully participate in the digital economy?
Having accessibility features with technological devices could help older people. As old as they get, they might not be able to understand perfectly what is happening, but AI could help them to simplify these messages that are going on. It could help them organize their medications or remind them about taking their medication, help them communicate with family than they already are.
But there is another challenge. As AI shapes what people see, hear, and read online, distinguishing authentic content from AI-generated material could become even harder for the elderly.
What they need to pay attention to is always try and speak to human beings. Get, people who know or are inclined in the subject area to really provide some form of verification for them.
For the elderly, keeping up with technology is not about mastering every new device or application. It is about having the support and opportunity to stay connected.
We must upgrade ourselves so that we can, if you have to learn from the children, fine. But they also, maybe in school they will bring problems. We have to help them solve. Here we are. If they would set up something for the senior citizens, then fine. We all learn and then join the club.
And the numbers tell part of the story. Ghana's 2021 census found that 5.1 million people were digitally excluded, with older people among those at greater risk of being left behind. As the world celebrates senior citizens, the conversation goes beyond longevity. It is about ensuring that older people remain connected, included, and able to participate in an increasingly digital society. Anita Agbota, TV3 News, Accra.
Thank you for staying here on News 360. Let's bring you some more stories. Health Minister and Chairman of the West Africa Regional Coordinating Center, Kwabena Mintah Kando, says Ghana is projected to achieve free primary health care nationwide by 2028 at the third Western Africa Regional Technical Advisory Committee meeting of the Africa CDC. He called for stronger regional collaboration among African countries to improve preparedness and response to future disease outbreaks.
Third Western Africa RETAC brought together health authorities and technical experts to examine regional preparedness, surveillance and response mechanisms. 60 participants from more than 14 countries are taking part in the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Africa CDC event. Ghana's Minister for Health, Kwabena Mintah Kando, stressed the need for African countries to invest in long-term capacity and health independence to enable the continent to become self-reliant, especially in times of crisis.
When there is an outbreak in one country, the other countries must show solidarity and get prepared to prevent outbreak in the other country. So there is a need for the region, the sub-region, to get together and to work together. There is a need for us to deepen that coordination. There's a need for us to identify the expertise we have in the region and the sub-region so that we don't wait till we have those outbreaks before we find ourselves wanting.
The World Health Organization's representative to Ghana, Dr. Fiona Braka, encouraged African countries to unite in tackling their health challenges.
And Africa CDC demonstrates the power of strategic partnership and collective action in strengthening health security across the continent and beyond. As we strengthen health security, we must also ensure that our approaches are people-centered, that they are inclusive, and that they are sustainable. Important also is ensuring that the One Health approach remains central to our preparedness and response efforts, recognizing the importance and interconnectedness of human, animal, and environmental health.
Participants say sustained investment, information sharing, and stronger regional coordination will be critical to protecting populations and preventing future health emergencies from escalating into major crisis. Noura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
Now we take you back to the story around the controversy surrounding the losses in the domestic gold purchasing program and allegations of extortion leveled against the minority leader by the CEO of Gold Board. Edem Senanu is co-chairperson of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, and he's joined us for a quick interaction. Grateful for your time this evening, Mr. Senanu. Now, seeing that this allegation involves a senior member of Ghana's parliament, how do you think Parliament and the OSP should have handled the allegations? It's been about 4 days since the allegation was first made in public. I'd appreciate it, sir, if you can kindly unmute your device.
Well, yes.
Hello, Mr. Senanu.
Sorry for that. I hope you can hear me now.
Well, we seem to have a challenge with that line. Hopefully.
I can hear you.
Well, okay, I'm told we have him back on now. Grateful for your time once again. Hopefully you got my question. Love to hear your response.
Yes, I did. Yes, I think that's an accusation or an allegation. Extortion is a technical term, which means somebody is forcibly taking money, resources, assets, or items from you. And to the extent that the Gold Board CEO was suggesting that the minority leader was attempting to extort from him, is something that is deserving investigation and to find out whether something has occurred outside the view of the. I think that is something that is deserving of attention, and clearly extortion is something that is part of corruption, and yes, it's something that I think that if it is factual, the OSP and other agencies ought to be considering this matter as well.
Right, and in terms of reaction, would you say that 4 days is is enough time to have had them at least put out a statement, show interest in the matter before this petition we are seeing by members of the United Party?
Well, to be honest, it is the petition by the members of the United Party that has compelled some of us to go and look at the data more closely, and then discover that indeed the 182-page IMF report does not at any point suggest that the gold board had a loss. If anything at all, is the Bank of Ghana a loss and apparently owed fees to the gold board. And so it's intriguing why this would be, interpreted in a way that began to suggest something. And further, even more intriguing, that the CEO of the gold board will now say, look, some extort from him or from them. So I don't think 4 days is too long, because I'm not quite sure many of us had averted our minds to the facts of the case. I think that at this point, it's a good time for the anti-corruption agency to take a second look and see whether this is something that they would pay attention to. In any case, I suspect that within the next 2 weeks, the special prosecutor will be speaking to the nation. I think that their 6-month report is due, and I'm sure that this may be one of the issues they may consider in speaking to what they have done over the past period.
It's become a point of conversation because in times past, we've seen the OSP clearly tell us that events in the media, on social media, traditional digital media are monitored, and matters like this are of interest to the office. And so one will just wonder, even though you've mentioned that this petition has made persons like you want to examine the matter carefully, the issue of extortion and losses are not the same. One is an effect of the other.
Well, yes. I mean, you see, the thing is this. An allegation of extortion does not mean that extortion has actually happened. It may mean there was an attempt, or there's an interpretation of an action by another party that suggests that they wanted to extort. Now, the mere attempt to extort or interpretation of an attempt to extort may not become conclusive evidence to say A has done something wrong.
I get that, Mr. Senanu. We are only talking about the personality involved, the high office he holds, and the level of allegation that has been said against him, and what one would expect as Parliament itself to respond to matters like this concerning a leader of the House and the Office of the Special Prosecutor, having told us in times past that it is highly interested in matters that generate debates of this nature in the public space.
And that is exactly where I was going to end, by saying that at the moment, we cannot say that they have not already averted their minds and looked at the issues. And that is why I was saying that I assume that in the coming days, when they have opportunity to speak, if you're assuming that within 4 days they should then say that's not the culture, that's not the pattern of the work so far I'm aware of OSP. They tend to the likelihood is that they have taken notice, they are maybe looking at it, but it is only when they come and speak to the public that we will know for certain, and I assume that will happen within the next 2 weeks.
Grateful for your time this evening. Adam Senanu is co-chairperson of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, sharing his thoughts with us on the issues of allegations of extortion made against the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo Marking, by Gold Board CEO Sami James. Let's do some other stories now.
Moving on, authorities at the Technical Institute in the Akachi North District say the institute's poor infrastructure continues to affect enrollment despite recent efforts by authorities to augment existing facilities. Now, the institute, which was established a decade ago, is still operating from temporal structures affecting enrollment and academic activities.
The Technical Institute was established in 2016 as a second cycle institution to provide skilled education for prospective students from the Ave Enclave and beyond. The establishment of the institute aligns with the Ghana government's renewed vision to revamp skills education. But 10 years after its establishment, the institute still operates from a temporary campus, confronted with a huge infrastructure deficit.
The classroom situation is not conducive enough. We have no ceilings in our classrooms. And when temperatures are high like that, the classroom becomes so uncomfortable. So you can imagine, students will not be able to concentrate. We don't have the requisite workshops, which is well fitted with the modern day equipment that students can use to learn, to enhance themselves practically.
Beyond the poor classroom infrastructure, the institute currently operates without a boarding facility, forcing students who travel from afar into a small rented space.
Where we sleep is so small, and then we find it uncomfortable there. There are no beds, and we have to put our mattress on the floor to sleep on it. So the building is always in poor condition and no ceiling in the room, so sometimes we feel very heat during the night. So I wish for the hostel to be converted to a boarding facility as time goes on, so that when we come back from school like that, we don't have to come and cook ourselves. That time we're using to cook, we can use it to learn.
The situation has an overreaching impact on enrollment and general sustainability of the institutes.
We can't even accommodate them. So anytime they come and there is no space for them to even sleep, there is no dormitory, they feel discouraged and they go back.
You need a boarding house with all the dormitories fitted with bunk beds, so that students from afar, when they come every admission year, they will have a place to stay.
Early this year, Member of Parliament for the area, Peter Nochukotwe, cut short for the construction of a workshop for the institute. This, he said, forms part of plans to address the dire infrastructure challenges.
We had to take away some 2 blocks from the basic school for them to move in, and we are sure that that thing will be over very soon. So where we are today is very significant, because this is going to be their permanent site. We'll put up structures over here, and we want to begin with a workshop that will be well equipped for their technical or vocational practicals.
Despite this significant step, authorities at the institute say a lot more infrastructure is required to keep it running. Faisal Abdul Idrisu, TV3 News.
It's now time to take a quick breather here on News 360. We'll be back with more stories. Kindly stay.
is defining herself. 27-year-old Abigail Edema is turning a lifelong challenge into a life of teaching and entrepreneurship. She was one of 69 persons with disabilities empowered at Elembele today. Irama Smith reports from the Western region.
In a hall filled with hope, the Elembele District Assembly handed out more than appliances and cash. They handed out a future. Among the 69 beneficiaries was Abigail Edema, born with a physical disability from birth complications. Her journey has been a steep climb. She says there were days the weight felt heavy, but she refused to be a victim of her circumstances.
My mom was operated, and after the operation, I passed out. So during the injection for me to survive, for me to come to life, then that caused my condition right now. I don't actually know, maybe the injection didn't go well. That's why I had this. At first I wasn't working at all, but during some herbal medicine and hospitals, the two of them combining together, then I was able to stand on my feet.
Today, she is a private school teacher and a growing entrepreneur. For her, this new refrigerator is not just an appliance, it is a tool for economic freedom. In all, 460,097 cedis. That is 5% of the District Assembly Common Fund for the first quarter of 2026. It has been invested in 69 people, 32 men and 37 women, with support for livelihoods, business startups, and skills training.
Disability should never define the limit of a person's potential. What often limits people is not their disability, but the barriers that society places in their way. When we remove those barriers and provide the right support, we give people the opportunity to discover what they are truly capable of achieving. Our first objective is to support income-generating activities. Economic empowerment is one of the strongest ways of giving people independence.
And to the new business owners, a firm charge from the district coordinating director.
These items are expected to empower you, to make you empowered, to make you self-sufficient. So we expect that you utilize these items for the benefit of yourself and your family. The caution that we have to give is that you don't have to go and dispose these items or sell these items. We want to empower you so that in future you would be like any other persons in the society.
For Abigail Edema, her condition has changed how she moves through the world. It has never changed where she is going. From a complicated birth to the front of a classroom, a reminder that opportunity, not sympathy, unlocks potential. Irama Smith, TV3 News, Nkofo, Western Region.
And here in our news hub at Adesawe Kanda in Accra and Bernice Abubeidulansa, we bring you some more stories. Greater Accra has emerged winner of the second edition of the Maggi Jollof Showdown, beating other regions in a fierce culinary competition held at the University of Ghana, Legon. The contest, organized as part of the Maggi Taste of Ghana tour, brought together chefs from across the country to compete for regional bragging rights on World Jollof Day.
The competition, held at the University of Ghana, brought together chefs representing different regions to battle for the ultimate jollof bragging rights. But beyond the competition, organizers say the event is also about encouraging consumers to pay attention to nutrition in their everyday meals.
We just are wrapping up on a tour that we just had nationwide, which is the Maggi Dedede Taste of Ghana, to touch base with the people and the foods that they prepare and they eat, connect with them, and also showcase the influence of Maggi Dedede in the good tasty meals that they have in their food. This is the first time we are having this, and it's going to continue. So we are more or less the pace setters in this. We want to ensure that we are connecting to every Ghanaian, every home, and every region across the country.
Maggi Ghana's development manager, Margarita Amon, says the product is not limited to jollof, but can be used to enhance the flavor of variety of local dishes. She says the interregional competition also provides an opportunity to celebrate Ghana's diverse food culture and showcase different cooking styles.
This year, what makes it more interesting is the climax of Taste of Ghana. So we were on a touring Ghana, checking the different cuisines we have in Ghana, the traditions, the cultures, and we are back again to where we started from. Today we don't want to have the war between Ghana and Nigeria. We want to bring the war home to see which region is able to give us that best jollof. And every region has something very special in terms of staple they use for their meals.
The organizers say the Jollof Showdown will continue to provide a platform to celebrate Ghanaian cuisine while encouraging creativity and better cooking practices.
Now, the race for the ultimate prize in the Graphic Business Tertiary Business Sense Challenge has entered its crucial stages, with 6 universities securing places in the semi-finals of the 8th edition of the competition. Quiz Master Dr. Al-Hassan Yusuf says the competition continues to develop young talents, with several former contestants now excelling in the corporate world.
At the quarterfinals, the University of Ghana, UCC, and KNUST secured wins over their opponents, with Pentecost University and Ghana Communication Technology University also advancing to the semi-finals. Quizmaster Dr. Al-Hassan Yusuf Traore says the 8-year-old competition is helping shape students for the corporate world, with several former contestants now excelling professionally.
There are a number of benefits that this seeks to achieve. Aside the students that we have on set, it builds their confidence, it builds their presentation skills, and they learn a lot, because what they learn here actually transcends what they learn in school. So they develop a lot of capabilities on stage. I've been a quiz master for the last 8 years. If we take stock of the people who have been on this stage, a lot of them have gone on to do very great things in Ghana, in Africa, and then beyond.
For the University of Ghana, Eric Butchie, whose performance helped secure the institution's place in the semi-finals, says the victory is a source of pride for the team. He added that the pressure of the contest helps participants sharpen their skills and prepares them for the demands of the corporate world.
Although the results match our strengths, it wasn't expected looking at how the rounds were. But if you check how we lost in our zonal finals, we went back, we prepared, we believed in ourselves, and then we came back. Even though it wasn't working, we still have the optimism that everything is going to work. I'm able to adapt to pressure. I know what actually it is expected, and then we, not me alone, but together with my teammates as well as everybody who partake in this thing and then be on the stage, just same.
Nestle Ghana has launched the Cerelac Achediepa promo with the aim of rewarding families with instant cash, education support, and an all-expenses-paid trip to Mauritius. The initiative, which means good gift, seeks to turn the trust families place in Cerelac over the years into meaningful rewards. There's more in this report.
Families who have trusted Cerelac to provide nutrition for their children, there is now an opportunity to receive more than just nourishment. The Cerelac Achediepa promotion is turning that trust into exciting rewards. From instant cash prizes credited directly to winners to educational support for the awards, the promotion is designed to give families practical rewards while investing in the dreams and potential of their children. For Nestle Ghana, the message is very simple: buy, enter, win.
This is our first ever national consumer promo for Cerelac, and it's quite a big deal for us. For generations, families have chosen Cerelac. This is our time to say a very big thank you to those families. So look out for this. You enter 3 sachets and you stand a chance to get 1 Ghana cedi back, but also a chance to participate in the final draw for this. They will find a code in there. All they need to do is to text this code to this short code, *380*12#.
Deborah Kwabla is Corporate Communications and Public Affairs Lead for Nestle Ghana.
It's a very special branch that we are really proud of, because Cerelac is made with products that are sourced right here in Ghana.
Parents at the launch on August 21 at the Labadi Beach Hotel could not contain their joy.
It's the first time actually I'm hearing of such a promotion. Winning from day one. When you buy one Cerelac, you are winning. Now when you even buy 3, that one too you are winning. And then you go and come back and something is waiting for your children again. Hey, I don't know whether we are dreaming actually. For me, I'm going to Mauritius. Okay.
Customers are urged to buy more sachets to stand a greater chance of winning prizes.
Kindly stay with us. Sports News Updates is up next.
All right.
Welcome to the sports segment. We start off with the Ghana Premier League as Asante Kotoko have wrapped up their two-week training camp in Accra as they return to Kumasi to complete preparations for the new Ghana Premier League season. The Porcupine Warriors spent 2 weeks in the capital using the period to intensify preparations and play a number of friendly matches. Well, Kotoko ended their Accra program with a 1-0 victory over Semper FI, having earlier defeated Heart of Lions by the same scoreline. And the team will now return to Kumasi, where they are scheduled to face Heart of Oak in the Democracy Cup on Friday, August 28 at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Still in sports tonight, Ghana midfielder Thomas Partey has expressed his delight after making his Saudi Pro League debut for Al Shabab, coming off the bench in a 1-0 draw with Al Khalij. Now, the 33-year-old who completed his move to the club just hours earlier entered the match in the 58th minute and made an immediate impact during his 32-minute come-on.
Amazing. I like it. It's my first game here, and I thought we did great. We could have scored. We had a chance to score, but well, it's part of football. We have to just keep working hard and then try to make more points and get 3 points in our next game. Well, I think it's normal. I'll do my best to give everything to this club, and I'm really happy to be here.
Now to the English Premier League now, where Dominic Szoboszlai scored a dramatic stoppage time penalty as Liverpool denied Newcastle an opening game victory at St. James Park.
Awkward for Chow. Shot from Fierce, what a save! It's not in abundance. Fierce to Kirkes to Cody Gakpo, trying to find that. That's so close! Wissa. Will it bounce favourably for him? This can seal it. Here he comes. Szoboszlai scores! And so it begins. The off here. Haaland, brilliant from Foden.
He does so well as well. A little burst of pace to get there first.
Cherki's Gahey this time. Gahey for Cherki. And through for Vario.
Well, that's your sport. Entertainment news is up next.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyled and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
In entertainment news tonight, Ghana is hosting artisans from 14 African countries for the 2026 Craftara Festival, a 10-day exhibition celebrating African craftsmanship, creativity and cultural heritage. The festival, organized through a collaboration between the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture and the Center for National Culture, seeks to create opportunities for artisans while positioning African craftsmanship on the global stage.
According to organizers, the festival is aimed at promoting Ghanaian and African craftsmanship and giving artisans a platform to showcase their skills, creativity and cultural heritage to a wider audience. The National Commission on Culture says the event also forms part of efforts to preserve, promote and develop Ghanaian culture, highlighting not only the tangible cultural assets on display, but also the stories and traditions behind each artifact.
When you pick one item, when you trace the value chain from the very beginning up until the finished project, you realize that you have a story to tell. So we are here to encourage them to make sure we exhibit, and we also will make sure we buy the exhibits and keep as a way of preserving our culture.
Speaking at the opening, a representative from the Diaspora Affairs Office highlighted the importance of initiatives like Craftara in creating markets for African artisans.
We're more or less trying to also promote
continental trade, right, through the AFCFTA. So that's something which is integral to how growing our industries, right, especially artisans, of this nature, putting them on the platform, right, for them to get the market they need, and also to grow. And this more or less is those who carry the economy.
With artisans from across the continent converging in Ghana, the Craftara Festival is providing a platform where culture meets creativity and creativity creates economic opportunity.
For people like me, when I come out and say I'm from Gambia, everybody is like, where is Gambia? Where is Gambia? So it's really amazing if we could all put in hands together and showcase the beauty, because in Africa we have so many things that we make with our hands. It's not like the Western world, they are better than us. No. What we can put in, trust me, if we unite and fight, we could take Africa in a better place.
After an impressive display of style and elegant poise on the runway last weekend, the contestants of Ghana's Most Beautiful face a brand new test this week. All 16 of them will take us on a journey through their native kitchens, sharing the stories behind the delicious meals that are unique to their regions. From the rich flavors and traditional cooking processes to the legacy behind each dish, these stories will be creatively brought to life. Join Ghana's Most Beautiful contestants tonight at 8 p.m. as they take us on a delicious culinary journey through all 16 regions of Ghana, celebrating traditional delicacies that have been passed down from generation to generation. We bring you quick international updates before we go tonight.
At least 30 people have been killed and 22 injured after a mound of rubbish at a major waste site collapsed onto nearby homes in Guinea's capital, Conakry. According to a statement issued by the government, resources and personnel, including the military, have been deployed to search for the survivors after the collapse following heavy rain overnight. One woman told local media her 5 children have died in the disaster. Death toll will rise further. Rescuers were later seen using excavators to comb through a mountain of scattered rubbish at the site as local residents gathered nearby. The Democratic Republic of Congo government and the Rwanda-backed M23 rebel group have agreed a roadmap for peace talks. In a joint statement after 5 days of talks in Switzerland, they said they had pledged to pursue negotiations towards comprehensive peace and conflict resolution and set up a mechanism to monitor the ceasefire. The roadmap sets out a timeline for talks under a US-brokered peace framework, which they signed in 2025, only for fighting to then continue in eastern DRC Congo.
We're grateful that you spent the last hour with us on News360, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. I'm Noble Crosby-Annan.
You can also get news updates on our socials. We are TV3 Ghana. I am Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Ghana's Most Beautiful is up next.